Welcome back to the Birdies and Bourbon Show. This is a treat today, joined by friend of the show, Steve Canepa, CFO for Filmland Spirits. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great. It's great to be with you guys again.
Absolutely. Looking forward to this.
Thanks for taking some time. As you see, I didn't waste any time. I'm getting right into the Quad Force 1. This is Kentucky Anna.
Yeah.
And so it's been a minute since we talked, man. What's going on at Filmland? I missed some releases.
Yeah.
Shame on me. But yeah, what's been going on?
Well, yeah. I mean, I got to take partial blame. I think you said let me know if you guys have new releases, and we got it gets crazy. We actually released 2 new ones at the Kentucky Bourbon Fest in 2023. And then we didn't get to talk after those. And then we released the one you're drinking now, Quadra Force, in September 2024. So 3 new ones since we last talked. We'll get to play with the Quadra Force. We can talk about the other ones, but yeah, it's been fun. We've been riding the wave and trying to get into more states in brick and mortar stores. That's going well. We're 11 plus now, and then the online presence is almost 45 states. So things have been going. It's, startup company blues that you have all the time, but things are going well.
Not much longer. What's the lifespan? So I shouldn't say lifespan. When does a startup company become a non-startup company?
As soon as I figure I can't use that excuse anymore. No, I mean, I think the whiskey business has probably got a longer window for it than something that's a little more. Doesn't sit on the shelf for a year, right? Things that kind of turn over a little quicker. But when we started the company, we had a long range plan. There's about 5 years to get to where we want to be as a profitable, across the country mostly kind of business. That's a broad generalization, but yeah, I think I'll be claiming startup for another year or 2.
All right.
Nice.
We've got plans in the works then. So we'll get into the Quadra Force because I think it's interesting what you guys have done with this 4-grain blend and the story behind it. Before we get too deep into
Can I join you for a little drink?
I mean, if you don't.
I'm sorry. I should have been prepared.
Yeah, wonderful. By the way, this is. I can distinctly taste 4. There's a lot more than 4. But yeah, a lot going on, very complex. I'm a little surprised about all the kind of the menthol, minty notes that I'm getting out of this. So I don't know. Have to revisit another day and see if that happens. But
what did you have to eat today, Kyle?
Exactly. Not Mentos. Not Mentos. So how about from a CFO lens? There's been some articles coming out right around what the state of bourbon / whiskey in today's climate, and lots of introduction to new spirits, right, or ready to drinks. You got some people some people celebrated dry January. I wasn't one of them. So there's obviously
thank you. My business thanks you.
Exactly. Yeah, so some health things going on there, but what's your take on just the market in general? Kind of where it was, where we are, and what do you see the future looking like?
Yeah, I mean, I like to rewind to when it was booming, COVID or other reasons that I didn't believe that. So when it shot up, I always am kind of like trying to stay even keel. So there was a false demand in boom, partially because people were sitting home a lot and they were probably drinking more than they had historically. So if you take a little bit of discount off of that and take the linear demand, it's definitely turned over a little apex. So depending on which market you're looking at, the whole gigantic market, I think it shrunk for the first time. The American whiskey market, which involves so many different things. You can bifurcate that into different segments. We play in a segment that's $50 and up. That one hasn't shrunk yet, but its growth has definitely slowed. But yeah, those canned pre-made cocktails are the thing that's kind of eaten the lunch of cheaper wines, cheaper whiskeys, cheaper clear spirits. Those have all kind of taken a backseat to canned pre-mixed cocktails. And what am I going to argue? It's pretty convenient. I've had some that I liked, had some that I didn't like. But as a CFO of a smaller kind of boutique-y type of brand, we're still plugging ahead is if we have a niche market that prefers not just the fact that we're going to put great whiskey in the bottle, but there's a whole effort behind it, a whole story behind it, a whole experience behind it. And we think that, for us, that brings enough uniqueness. And I think other smaller brands that I've seen that I still enjoy, they offer me something that kind of probably the group that's struggling a little more in the whiskey market doesn't offer, which is uniqueness. Every bottle doesn't taste the same. Every story behind the bottle isn't the same. So we're still comfortable and confident in that. And so far, I haven't seen that side of the market decline yet. It's just the growth.
Yeah, probably more so. It's right sizing itself, right, as to where the false. I mean, the sales were real, but how sustainable was that at that level, right? That you were going to be able to continue with that kind of growth. So
and then the other macro was the overall economy, and not a political statement, just a fact. Inflation, and those are numeric things. They were taking more disposable income out of people's pockets. Whether that changes in the next several years or not, that remains to be seen. Some people are optimistic about that. Some people are pessimistic about that. But that can be another factor that can have an impact, is just how much, after you pay all your bills, how much you have left to do stuff for you. And whiskey is one of those things. And probably there was a little less of that the last few years. And if there becomes a little more of that, that'll help out too.
Yeah, gotcha. Yeah, interesting. Yeah, it's this is wonderful, by the way.
It is wonderful.
Glad you like it.
Which one's your favorite now, Steve?
So my favorite has been and always will be the Moonlight Mayhem extended cut. Well, not always will be. I mean, it with these 6, it is a cask strength bourbon that it's still number one. This one, for me personally, took a little while to figure out its sweet spot in my palate. And we could talk about how we made it stuff, but I found that neat, it's probably in the middle of the pack. It's the only bourbon I ever put in an old fashioned. I always use rye for old fashioned. So this one kind of flipped me. Yeah, there you go. So, and I think we'll talk about those flavors you're getting, and that's why. But where it's number one of our 6 is with a cigar. It pairs with a cigar better than the other 5 whiskeys that we've offered. Neat. So I've really found a little part of my life that it fits in perfectly, which is sitting by the fire with a cigar. This is the one I grab every time.
I could have used that yesterday at Sweetens Cove. The issue would have been I would have needed more bottles, because those folks aren't afraid to go after it.
Yeah, you have your little cubby holes, right?
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So let's get into the story a little bit behind, Quadra Force. There were 4 releases, 4 characters. I'm sipping on the Kentuckiana. I think you have the same. That's the most recent release at 94%, I think. So
So the one thing to make sure everyone understands is the bottles are different, but the whiskey in all of them is the exact same.
Yeah.
So we made a blend, but let me rewind just a little bit. So I told you we released 2 whiskeys in 23. One of those completed our core 4. So we have now a 94 proof bourbon with a cask strength bourbon, and we had a 94 proof rye. We all drank those together, but we released a cask strength rye. Yep. So those 4 whiskeys, the 2 Moonlight Mayhems, the 2 Rise of the Robots, those will be our core in perpetuity. Those we're always going to have. But we always said, and I think we talked to you guys about this, we want to do some special stuff along the way. So in 23, we found some really good older Kentucky distilled whiskey, and we released that as Town at the End of Tomorrow, a 9-year bourbon. But we had toyed with this idea of blending. So we're a California company. We do our bottling in Kentucky. We've purchased barrels from other states before. And Troy and I are both superhero movie fans and kind of fun movie fans. So this idea of one of our special releases being more fun, and you guys both know that we always make sure what's in the bottle is really good too, but the concept would be more fun. So we toyed with the idea of mixing whiskeys from different distilleries, because up until then, the other 5, although we blend barrels, they're always from the same distillery,
single source.
With the same mash bill. So everything was the same. They taste different. You got to blend them, but they were always single source. So we played with this idea and toyed it around, and of course Troy came up with the whole story of a alternate universe. We decided to be the first group out there to create a parallel universe. I think Hollywood will probably follow us now, but and the superhero genre and getting their powers from an atomic blast and all that stuff. But he's just amazing with that. And I got to tell you, as part of the blending team, tasting all these barrels we probably tasted barrels from 12 states, maybe. Different distilleries. We got little samples. We talked to them at samples level, and we settled in on 4. We really wanted one to be California, but we didn't predetermine that. But luckily, we found one in California we liked. We wanted Kentucky again because of the roots, and then Tennessee turned out to be the 3rd, and the 4th is a mystery.
This is 4.
Yeah,
there's
the
4 here.
The 4th is a mystery, but I'll just say this: it's not Indiana. So we know some of our other products are MGP. Yeah. Our 4th is not Indiana. So that leaves 46 states or 45 states you have to choose from. And then now the challenge of blending these together added so many more variables because the mash bills were different. Yeah. The proof was different. The age was different. So we ended up with this idea of four heroes, 4 whiskeys from 4 different distilleries. The youngest one is 4 years old. So there's older stuff, but the youngest one is 4 years old. And the concept of the 4 characters, and we had a blast with it. We just had a blast with it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm sure that's I don't know. We got to figure out how to get on one of these tasting panels. Is what we got to do.
That's right.
That's something to look forward to.
Yeah.
What's coming? By the way, for those of you that don't drink, I don't know why you're listening to the show. But we are going to get into some golf in a little bit. So just sit tight. We got to pay the bills first, if you will.
That's right. Yep.
So what you've been releasing? I think some private barrels.
Yep. Yeah. We have a single barrel program. We've made a list and a kind of a sales sheet with its Moonlight Mayhem extended cut single barrels. We've sold probably maybe just under 10 of those, probably high single digits of those to different liquor stores or whiskey clubs. And I don't know if you know the one in Bardstown. It has the word pig in it. Flying Pig or something. I remember they bought one and went through it, and then they just ordered their second one. Oh, Blind Pig, the Blind Pig in Bardstown. It's great. It's a great liquor store in Bardstown. They're the first repeat customer on our single barrels. Nice. We did one single barrel of that 2023 release of Town at the End of Tomorrow for Justin's House of Wine, but we don't have any of that left. And I think, we'll continue to go forward with the Moonlight Mayhem single barrels. And then I would hope someday we might do the Rise of the Robots cast strength single barrel. We haven't kind of set those apart. But what we do is we get a barrel, we taste it, we make a fun name for it, put up a sales sheet and offer to liquor stores we do a lot of business with through their distributor or whiskey clubs. And a few of those have been purchased by just whiskey clubs, a group of 50 or 60 guys get together and buy it, and then we bottle it for them.
Yeah, I expect the demand at some point is going to be getting Troy involved and say, write my own unique story for my barrel. And
that would be pretty cool.
Right?
Yeah.
So, labor intensive, and give or take, you're going to get a yield of, somewhere in the high hundreds, 160 to 180, whatever that might be. So I don't know how economical that is, but I could see that being
you can make anything economical.
That's right. What else? What else are we missing on Filmland, man? I know we got a lot of golf to talk about. So you've been doing some traveling, but before we move on, we're going to be sipping as we talk through this. But so what's to come?
Yeah, we're always thinking a couple of years ahead. So we have stuff resting in finishing barrels now. Some are experimental. One we are pretty confident of that we bought enough of the barrels that it hopefully will be once we taste the final product. So probably we'll have something finished. We're always playing with grains. We're looking at different mash bills. Different things are kind of ebbing and flowing in the overall market, different grains out there. So we're looking at that, and then different distilleries. So one new recent addition to our team, a board member, is a whiskey broker also in one of his many jobs, and he's created a new network for us to talk to and explore different barrel sources than we had probably the last time we talked. It was just Troy and myself and Charlie calling around and looking at publications and stuff. But now we've made some connections. Troy's been on the road a lot. The state that's really blown up has been Kansas.
Really?
They've just been a big fan. Yeah, just blown up for us. They really are enjoying the product, but also the relationship. So he goes out there and spends a lot of time with folks. Kentucky's been great, but we're up into kind of the Midwest. We're in Illinois in a store called Binny's now, which has got about 30 something locations.
Yep.
Exploring so we don't some southern states we don't have the whole state distribution, but certain like Total Wine in Georgia picked us up. So in some places it's a little spotty, but that's it's kind of new products and then expanding into states a little bit more. That's probably the next couple of years for us.
Yeah, and I know you're on multiple e-commerce platforms too. Yeah. So delivery is definitely an option. If you don't have allocation in your state. So
and if folks are listening and you're interested, the other thing to do is sign up on our website. You just put in your email. We don't blast. Maybe it's 10 a year we might do, but we'll send out codes. So there's a Valentine's Day code. Like I can pull it up before we get off here, but it helps with the shipping cost because obviously if you buy online you have to spend a little more than going down to your store. But we almost always have some kind of promotion going on. Probably not 365 days, but maybe 300 of those holidays, Father's Day, Christmas, all that kind of stuff. So if you sign up on the website, you'll definitely get those emails with the code in it, or you can probably search online and find it too. I think some places publish discount codes all the time now, but if you're going to order online, it's probably best to do it with one of those little codes, but I'm not going to say don't do it without a code.
Exactly.
There's a good deal on the Quadra Force because it's 4 different labels.
Yep.
If you order one online, you're just got a 25% chance of getting one of them or whatever. But on our website, there's a way to get all 4 if you're interested in all 4, or you just got to go to your liquor store and hunt and peck and try to get all 4.
Mm-hmm.
So with the finish, with what's
I knew he was going to go there.
In a finished barrel, are we? Of course, you can give us as much information as you want, but are we going kind of traditional? And as we dip our glass in the barrel, and are we?
So we bought barrels of varying X uses, and we've done a couple traditional and a couple untraditional, and we're tasting them along the way at different periods of time. Sure. And I'd say the one that's the most exciting is probably on the untraditional side, and that's the one I'm kind of most hopeful for. Yep. But we also have stuff in traditional, red wine barrels or whatever, sherry, things like that. So we've tested on the whole spectrum, but the one that's got me the most excited is probably untraditional. And
go ahead.
No, I would say if it works, you'll hear about it probably in middle of this year. Hopefully, we can talk about it a little bit.
Okay. Cool. So it's happening.
If the continued age keeps the flavor that we found early on that we were liking. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. And that's got a lot of factors, right? Where's it at? What's the weather like? There lots of how long is it going to need to sit there? I don't know until it tastes just right.
Exactly.
And probably always a little bit of a gamble because it's like, I don't know, do we leave it a little bit longer because it's damn good right now?
That's it. Yeah, and I mean, if you ask me, I know this was the next question: is what's more fun, doing spreadsheets or tasting these whiskeys every month? I'll leave it up to you.
We know that you're a spreadsheet kind of guy.
That's right. Okay. That's right.
Okay. We accept all kinds on this show.
It's always fun when you combine the two together.
Yeah, you got it.
It's creative accounting, I guess. Things we shouldn't talk about. Hey, so before we go on into some golf chat, and you may or may not want to. But what about tariffs? Is that something you guys are talking about? And because I know there are some states, you mentioned Benny's in Illinois, and it sounded like I guess in Chicago specifically, that the mayor was looking at doing some kind of weird tariff things going on there. So I don't know. What's your play there?
Yeah, I mean it's a dilemma because as a company, and you hear about certain ones, if they definitely hurt us. So we have overseas suppliers of glass and packaging and corking, whatever. And if one of those gets hit with the tariff and we keep our relationship, our price goes up. So it's obvious, and typically a producer like us is going to pass that right on the consumer, right? I mean, it's not like we're going to eat it. Maybe in a different time and place in our history, we could eat it, but not right now. As a country, as a citizen of the country, when you hear we've been paying tariffs to sell there and they haven't been paying tariffs to sell here, you're like, well, heck, let's just make it fair. It's either we stop paying tariffs to sell there or they pay tariffs to sell. Like, I'm more for fair than I am for it must be a tariff on them. Sure. It's just, let's make the relationship fair. And that doesn't mean the two tariffs have to be the exact same number. Countries bring other benefits. I'm not saying the numbers are, but I like fairness in all aspects of life. So if there's a country that has been tariffing the hell out of what we send there and we don't sell any of it, but they just ship all their stuff over here with zero, I'm for it, right? So I always have to kind of weigh the selfish need versus the greater good need, and I come out on both sides of it with this topic. I think like anything though, if a bunch of them hit right away, there will be an impact, but then it'll kind of readjust itself afterwards. You get used to a world with it, and things supply and demand kind of figures its way out. But the early impact of a bunch of tariffs on other countries would be our prices go up a little bit across the board, not just us, across the board. Yeah,
gotcha. Yeah, so by the way, you can find all these bottles that we've been talking about at filmlandspirits.com. And great stuff, great story. Love what's happening. It's always exciting to see, and the label tells a story of its own, right? I mean, you don't have to go to filmlandspirits.com to watch the story. You can kind of read and make your own interpretation as you go through that. But loving this 4 Grain, man. Nice work. You guys continue.
Yeah, and just before we leave it, the one of the bourbons in there is a high rye bourbon. So it's got, I think it's like 35 or something % rye. So that's where you're getting some of that. And I think that's why I like it in the old fashioned, I think also.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's because there's a California, a Kentucky, and a Tennessee, and then the mystery pour. I don't know. We'll have to get into the glass or two and you get figure out.
And the California is wheated, so that's where we get the wheat from, and that brings some flavors in. That's why it took me a little while to really get into this one, because it first shocked my system a little bit. Even when we were blending it, I was blending it with surprises and wow, I can't believe I'm tasting that. And then we found a blend we liked and we put it out there. And then when, the bottle always tastes different than the blend back in the mad scientist lab. And so the first time I cracked a real bottle, it took me a little while, but then, like I say, I honed it. There's one other thing I wanted to mention before we move off of, and this is it's kind of a partnership we have. There's a brewery in the city of Santa Barbara. And for those of you who don't know, on the West Coast, there's this great little beachfront community called Santa Barbara, California, a beautiful street down the middle that's partially closed off to traffic called State Street. There's a brewery there called Night Lizard Brewery. I'm actually wearing their shirt. Nice. And they took some of our old barrels that we had down at the end of tomorrow, the older Kentucky whiskey that unfortunately, I'm going to get you some of it somehow. You're going to get to taste it. I can't get you a bottle because they're all gone, but I'm going to get you some whiskey. So they took a couple of those barrels and they put a porter inside of it for about 8 months. Ooh, nice. And they're releasing a bourbon barrel aged porter that's a combination of their brewery. Their brewery is right downtown Santa Barbara, and aged in one of our barrels. And the label will have a little Filmland Spirits logo. Great partnership. So if anybody listening happens to be in the city of Santa Barbara, go check out Night Lizard Brewery. You'll have a blast.
And if you're not in the city of Santa Barbara, you should go to the city of Santa Barbara. It's an awesome place to visit.
Unbelievable, isn't it?
How close are you to there?
About 50 miles. My son goes to University of California, Santa Barbara right now, so I go up there a lot. Nice. There's good golf up there. There's a
Sandpiper.
Sandpiper right on the wall. Yeah, poor man's pebble. Some people call it.
That's right.
Yeah.
So, perfect.
Okay, that's it for the Filmland plugs.
Speaking of, we can plug along the way. That's fine. But I mean, the pros in the business would call that the perfect segue.
Perfect. Yeah.
With the poor man's Pebble Beach. So the stars have aligned in case you don't watch golf and you're only a drinker. And the Golden Boy, Rory McIlroy, has won He's won on the PGA Tour again. At Pebble Beach at the AT&T Pro-Am. Yeah. And this is not very Rory-esque to be winning this early on U.S. soil.
Yeah, especially on Poana greens.
Especially on Poana. And it was like I was playing golf, obviously, and was doing some other things, but I was catching up on it, and I caught up on it some this morning. And, he was blasting like 360, 370. He was 40 and 50 yards past everybody that he was playing with. He was hitting 7 irons into the green on the par 5s, and other folks were hitting 3 irons. Crazy.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, there's the 14th hole is a par 5 that he took a line that I've never seen a human being take with his drive. Yeah. It's impressive. When he putts like this, I was thinking about watching him and watching Scotty last year, and Scotty had a little surgery, so he's coming back. But do you guys remember when Tiger was so dominant? But then there was VJ, and VJ was winning tournaments with his kind of slow and steady, but Tiger was the one exciting everybody. I think Scotty's VJ this year and Rory's Tiger. It's like Tiger. Rory's so exciting to watch. He does things that you just, but Scotty is so consistently good, just tee to green, and now he's got the claw grip, and which I love, and he's putting a little more consistently. But I think he'll probably win more times than Rory, but Rory will wow us a few more times. I think it's kind of going to be a little parallel to that year. VJ won 11 times, but Tiger won 2 majors, and the big controversy of golfer of the year and all that stuff.
Sure.
Good points.
Yeah, I wonder if we're going to get wowed at the Masters, and he's going to close out, meaning Rory, the career Grand Slam. It's avoided him thus far, but I don't know. Could be something coming on here.
Yeah, it's to me, it's all there about putting for him. If he putts the way he has putted towards the end of last year and this year, I think that's always been his Achilles heel. There is the putting.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so we talked, and Pebble's nowhere near any of the fires and such that are going on. Are you impacted by any of the fires and stuff that's been happening?
Not directly this time. So in prior years they've been a little closer, but this year I was more impacted by personal friends losing their residences, and we had they shut off all the power just to keep the power lines from blowing over and starting more fires. So, but nothing. I'm not complaining at all versus what other people had to go through. But near my golf club, the one I'm a member at, there was a fire probably 3 months ago, and some people that I golf with lost their homes. Jeez. And then the big one that was on the news in the Palisades, although there was another one in Altadena, but the Palisades fire got all of the publicity and kind of press coverage. People I know lost their homes there. So it's just rough. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because they're moving the Genesis, right, from Riviera. They're going to move that back, or not move it back. They're going to move it to Torrey Pines just because of everything that's happened. So a good thing, right? I think
it makes sense. Everything's all set up. The stands are there. The infrastructure's there. They're going to lose some revenue from the $280 they charge non-residents of San Diego that weekend. But have you guys got to play Torrey at all?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Great spot. So
wonderful golf course. Yeah, we'll talk about your trip to Ireland in a sec. What's our top 3? And we can go through the top 25 if you want. But what's your top few golf courses? Like if we're heading to California, which I may be out there in April, we'll have to coordinate, and I'll be close enough that we can get together. But if you're going somewhere, where are you sending people at?
So this is folks who don't have a connection to get on somewhere private. It's 100% public.
Well, hey, let's not count ourselves out here. We know some people.
Okay, so the best course I played in California is Cypress Point, right? But that's very, very, very difficult. But if you know someone, you know someone. Yep. There's another country club adjacent to it in the Monterey Peninsula that there's bigger membership and probably a higher probability of connections of other clubs being able to find you a connection. So, I've gone to other parts of the country and had the pro at my club write a letter to the pro. So there's a little more probability at Monterey Peninsula Country Club. 2 courses 36 hole layout. The AT&T had been there for a while. I'm not sure why it wasn't there this year, but two beautiful golf courses. If you can use some club connections, that's probably got a higher probability than a Cypress Point. So I'd say that Monterey area. Coming down the coast, or if you go up the coast to San Francisco, Olympic Club probably in the club to club category, but there's a Harding Park. It's 100% public. It's probably like the Torrey Pines of San Francisco. 100% public. Great golf course. They've done President's Cup. They did a PGA Championship, senior PGA there. So that one you can get on, and as long as you have enough notice. Harding Park would be a great one in the Bay Area.
Yeah, I should know that. Was that Morikawa?
Morikawa.
Morikawa. Yeah, that's where he won that PGA with that great par 4 drive. Yeah. Coming down more towards me, we talked about Sandpiper. Great. In closer to my area, there's an unbelievable little public course called Rustic Canyon, and it makes Golf Digest publication stuff. $50, $60. Amazing. The front nine is like linksy, like Scottish and Ireland links golf. The back nine's a little more traditional targety American golf. But dollar for dollar, one of the best public courses in north of LA.
Nice.
LA area is rough, not much other than country clubs. So there's really not a lot of great public options. LA, and then heading down towards San Diego, you got the Carlsbad area where TaylorMade and Callaway have their headquarters.
Sure.
There's a bunch of good ones you can get on there, mostly associated with hotels though. So the La Costa
kind of thing.
But you can get on. You just maybe have to go later tee times, right? The hotel guests might get the early ones, but the La Costa, where they used to do that match play championships, got two courses that are pretty good. There's a few in that Carlsbad area that are really nice.
Cool.
And then once I know, we don't want to give out your travel plans, but once I know your specific cities, I can get a little more specific for you.
Nice.
I'll be flying into LA. That's where I'm going to start at. So I'll be around the corner from you. So we'll have to get the date scheduled. So
let's hook up. You got to spend some time at my whiskey bar too.
Ooh.
Of course I do.
Twist his arm.
Of course I do. So we talked a little about, is Rory going to win? I don't know. What about Dan and I have talked about this a few episodes ago, but I think it's okay. We've seen some things happening, and we just saw Rory win. We've seen Scotty that what was he? I think he led the field in approach at Pebble. And he didn't win. I think it's the first time that he's ever led in that stat and not won the golf tournament. I finished, 10th or something. So, what's any bold predictions for 2025?
I'm going to learn how to pronounce Oberg or Aberg. That's my bold prediction.
Me too.
That's the swing that I can't even comprehend how efficient and good that guy is. So if I see a breakout, it's him. Yeah, it's Oberg. Oberg. I think that's.
I would say Oberg. Yes.
Yeah, even
though it's Aberg, but it's they've got a little mark over it. That's So
that's the guy that I think is going to jump up to, and he's already in the top 10. So it's not like some big shock, and I'm making some bold prediction. But win a major. While the other two or three are favorite, right? I think that's the guy that's going to be the one to kind of jump up into that upper echelon with that group.
Yeah, PGA Championship, by the way, that we got on an early bet a few weeks ago of one Rory McIlroy. It'll be played at Quail Hollow this year, of which Rory just dominates at Quail.
Yeah.
So that was. I think I saw. I don't know what we got it at, Dan, but I think the number now is like 10-1. And I think we're like well above 25. I think.
Nice. Yeah.
So it was a good early pick. Give us a little chance to recoup some of these costs. So but we'll see how that goes. Let's talk about your trip. You just you were in Ireland.
Yeah, I think I told you that last time we talked that was the next big thing on the horizon. Buddy of mine turned 50. He has roots in Ireland, so we had 12 guys. Stayed in 3 different cities and played 7 courses over over those days. 6 of them. The weather was like Monterey, a little cold, a little cloudy, like what you saw over the weekend, but nothing. We got one day. We got one day where I say there's always 3 elements, and I can deal with 2 of them, but you can't deal with all 3: wind, rain, and cold. Yeah. We had one of those days. If I had counted every stroke, it would have probably been in the high 150s.
Yeah. So some of those trips, man, it's just you enjoy yourself. Don't let the score get in the way of a good time.
Yeah, but I think if you haven't golfed in Ireland, the combination of the beautiful golf courses and then the people there and what you can enjoy in the evenings, food and drink and combinations thereof, really had a really wonderful time. And I played. I don't want to bore everybody with course by course, but one near Dublin, a few near the city of Killarney, and then 2 down near Lahinch, including Doonbeg, which is the one Trump owns, and then the Lahinch course, which is probably the parallel to St. Andrews. A kind of 18th hole goes into the city, and the course is built right with the city. That's
awesome.
Yeah,
that's really cool. Wow.
Yeah, I played. I went on a trip. I don't know, 2 years ago maybe. And I went with a bunch of non-golfers. So if you go on a non-golfing trip and you're a golfer, it's really damn hard to go to find time to go play around the golf. I mean, because to your point, I got to have clothes, I got to have shoes, there's a lot of things. I mean, clubs, I can easily rent those, not a problem.
Yeah.
Everything else that I need to make it a tolerable experience, which probably is going to be 70% plus of the time. It makes it a little challenging.
Yeah, hey, and then packing the right weather gear is the tough one, which you're not used to packing, right? Yeah.
Right. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Did you guys set that up yourselves, or how'd you guys go about that?
We used a tour group. So it went through a company, and they had a driver the whole time, and everything was kind of set up when we got to the hotels. It was really nice. And then probably to bring, another little segue is visited the Teeling Distillery. Well,
I was heading there. That's where I was going next.
Get back to the bourbon adjacent side of Birdies and Bourbon.
That's right.
Yeah, what a cool place. So they have a pot still and a column still, and they do some. Their releases are 100% pot. Some are column. Some they blend. Got to try whiskeys that aren't offered in the U.S.
Sure.
Just a really, really fun visit if you happen to be in the Dublin area. Half of the group went to Guinness, and then half of the group went to Teeling because we had this afternoon free. And then I bought. They had one that there was a blend of column and pot still whiskeys, but they bought a brand new American oak barrels shipped over from the U.S. So rather than finishing Irish whiskey in used barrels, they finished it in a brand new charred, or multiple, but I'm just acting like one. Brand new American charred oak barrel. So Irish whiskey in a new barrel was a really cool flavor. I don't think I'd ever had that before.
I don't know that I've ever. If I have, I don't remember it, which that could be very possible. But I don't. Yeah, nothing sticks out that I've had in a new barrel. I mean, it's just kind of like there's no. They're just not doing it right. I mean, it's
right.
A cost and all kinds of, Huh. And was that Teeling?
Teeling. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, right in Dublin.
Yeah, you'll have to send me what the offering was.
Sure,
what the label.
I think I have it right behind me. If I could find it. Well, it's somewhere here.
No, you can send it to me later.
Well, okay.
Yeah. But I'd be interested in trying that. A lot of Scotch fans, by the way, listen to the show. So it's good. Always good to find something new and interesting that you wouldn't otherwise get. What's new about the game? You've been playing a lot?
Yeah, so I've been trying to play twice a week. That goes pretty well. And then I think since we last talked, I had my first hole-in-one. That was exciting. That was exciting.
Was this at your club?
It was at my club, and it happened to be we do an annual kind of Ryder Cup or President's Cup, depending on how you look. It's basically people at the club born in the U.S. versus people at the club who were either born or really closely migrated, maybe at an early age, to the U.S. And it's been going on for 20 years, and I was part of the original 16. So 16 of us did this 20 years ago just by, talking about it amongst ourselves. Now the club puts it on, makes a little bigger deal of it. But it was during that weekend, during my singles match. And so there was a huge group there, and we have a hole-in-one club, thank God. So there was a pot for the free drinks. It wasn't all on me, but So I was with my partner on the U.S. team, and I'm friends with the two guys who were on the international team. Obviously,
Sure.
we're all buddies. But yeah, to be with those three guys when it happened, and then the team captains came up, and other people, the word spread throughout the competition. So it was to do it on a fun day like a tournament. Really special. Yeah,
with the right audience. Yeah,
I cried. I have to admit.
Hey man, that's
Where's the ball, Steve? Where's the ball at? It's got to be in your office somewhere, right?
That's the story. Is why I knew I hit it good. I knew it was going to be a very good shot, but the pin was kind of near. It was kind of front right, and there's a trap over there, and I saw a bounce, and in my mind it bounced on the green, but there was a chance it bounced short. My partner hit a really bad one, so we had to go over to his ball, and the two international players went up to the green, and then by the time we made our way up there, they were both faking like they were looking around and couldn't find the ball. and the other guy's like, I might be plugged in the trap. I can't find it. And I started walking up, and then I looked on the green, and my pitch mark was like 4 feet from the hole. And I'm like, and then I just like,
awesome. Good for you, man. Yeah.
That's
awesome.
Well,
I've yet to, I don't own that badge yet. Did I get close yesterday? Yeah, I thought I got close yesterday on number 9 at Sweetens, but it wasn't as close as I thought it was. So. It was a really good angle to get you kind of worked up,
Well, I think we've probably all had the ones where you lose sight of it from the tee box, and you get your hopes up, and then it's behind the stick, and sometimes 10 feet behind the stick, and you're like, right? Or the ones where you get up there and you're like, oh, just 2 more rolls or whatever. So that's why I didn't want to count my chickens before they hatched, kind of thing. But yeah, once I got up there, it was pretty cool. I hope it happens to everybody, because it's a really fun feeling. I've been at dinner tables where they go around. How many of you had 5, 4, 2, 1?
Oh, yeah.
And then I go 0. You've never had one, and you got to deal with that all the time. I'm sure Cal. So getting that monkey off your back.
Yeah, it's awesome.
What a treat. Hey, so I want to throw a few things around it. So there's a lot of exciting stuff going on in the golf world. Maybe it's exciting. I don't know. I'm going to ask you what your opinion is. So Liv's been up and running for a minute. There's multiple layers of comments. So the first comment, I'm going to paraphrase, not Liv related. This is Rory related, when they were kind of talking to him about Pebble Beach, and he basically said, week in and week out at a PGA tournament at just a ho-hum TPC course, it's kind of hard to get excited for that. Now, I can kind of understand. I mean, he, in what he does and his skill set. But I thought that was an interesting comment from him, kind of downplaying, what the PGA Tour is doing and how they're doing it. I think they've done a little bit of a better job. Like with this week, right? They're heading to that trashy open in Scottsdale, and and they didn't. It is not an elevated event this year. Yeah, They've made it optional, and I mean, there's still a lot of guys showing up there. I mean, it's a hell of a field.
It's a hell of a field.
Yeah. So that's the first one, and where this is going to go, just so you in the pros would call it foreshadowing. We've got Liv, we've got TGL. How do we get all these folks commingled, man? How do we get them back together? But let's go back to the Rory thing and about that comment, because I thought that was a very interesting comment by him.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, it reminds me of Brooks a little bit back when he was, winning his majors. Like, he didn't even look excited during the non-major tournaments, right? And maybe Rory's brain has gotten to that point where he knows I think it was this PGA victory number 30 or 20 something. Like, he's, I think, unique in that, like, his legacy now will be majors. The difference between how many regular tour events he's won and winning 10 more doesn't wow you, but going from 4 majors to 7 or 8 majors would cement, especially the Grand Slam, right? So I don't think he's speaking for everybody else. I think he's in a unique perspective, but we did see Brooks with that exact same perspective for several years, right?
Yeah.
The thing that I disagree with him on is there's some really fun players who don't have a chance in majors or elevated events that are the course is set up differently, like, like a Joel Damon or someone like that, right? But
Yep.
the other events where the rough isn't as big, or it's not as long, or it's a little more fun atmosphere, they're showing themselves off pretty good, and they actually draw a little more fan interest because they interact. Their interviews are more fun. They do YouTube clips. They do TikToks or whatever. They
Sure.
So I think that it's the blessing and the curse of bifurcating the events that matter versus the events that don't. The blessing is, man, the quality of golf in these, it will be amazing in these elevated events. But I think we're going to get to see more players perform at an entertaining level like this coming week. I mean, this week we'll see some people that we don't see on television all the time, and they'll be doing really well there.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So what about Liv? Are we into Liv yet, or is Liv kind of like, it's there? And
I have still not watched one whole event.
Okay.
I've seen highlights or whatever. Yeah.
Nor have
I. But the guys are starting to I think blend Liv with YouTube. So they're creating their own YouTube channels and doing fun YouTube things. So Bryson's got a YouTube channel where he plays, tries to break
breaking 50 or something.
Breaks 50 with a partner. And I just saw one with Phil Mickelson and a partner who is already a YouTube star named Grant Horvat. On Phil Mickelson's channel, they played Dustin Johnson and his brother in an 18-hole match, and you got to see a side of Dustin that you've never seen before, right? He was joking and teasing, and him and Phil are going at it, and so if Liv brought the showmanship out of these guys, and maybe it won't be Liv, but they'll find another venue to show off a little bit. I mean, it's definitely extending the career of Dustin and Phil, right? I mean,
for sure, yeah,
for sure,
it's making them relevant longer.
I mean, like just the Live events. I don't know if you saw Phil. He was interviewed. I don't know if it was this past weekend because they're where are they at Adelaide? I think there's the Live tournament this week, and so he was interviewing, and he's injured. He hurt something in the gym. He says so he's not going to make it. But his whole point was So the question that the interviewer asked basically was like, hey, why a PGA event and or a Live event? Why would you pick one over the other? And which. I mean, again, Phil has said some off the wall things, and he's said some other things that are kind of like, well, damn, that kind of makes sense. And I haven't been to a Live event yet, but I've been to plenty of PGA Tour events. And he's like, here's the thing, man. When you go to a PGA Tour event and you take a kid, he's like, it's a miserable experience. I mean, imagine, you've got a 7-year-old, and it's like, you're number one, he's like, the fan is committed. The person that showed up, he's a committed fan, right? He's going to go and walk 3, 4, 5 miles that day. He's going to be outside probably the vast majority of the time. You don't know what the weather's going to be like. And then when the child gets bored 30 minutes after he's there, and he's like, hey, what are we going to do next? He's like, well, there's nothing that we're going to do next because we've just spent the past hour and a half to get to, right? So, and then he kind of tied it back to Liv, talking about, hey, you want to go to the refreshment zone? Go to the refreshment zone. You want to go over here and take a nap? Take a nap. You want to go to this putt course that we've set up over here that you can go play putt? Like, he's like, all those things are happening. So it's he was basically playing on the experience, and I don't know. I hadn't thought about it from that lens, but. I don't kind of makes sense.
Yeah, I can see his point, and that's probably not quite the same at Sweetens Cove, but at my club when I first joined it, there was a very skew towards older demographic at it, right?
Sure. Yep.
And I came in late 30s, early 40s or something, and I felt young. So now I'm almost 60, and I'm in the old group. And there's a huge gap, and then there's this young crowd there, right? And they bring a whole different vibe. Now, I play music when I play, but I play it so basically I can hear it or a 5-foot circle. They play music so you can hear it 4 holes away. They never tuck in their shirt. They wear joggers so you can see their bottom. And I'm not criticizing any of that. I live and let live, right? But I think Live and the PGA are like that. There's there's this little battle of older traditional, and I might be on the lower end of the older traditional, 70 or 80-year-old golfers, but I think there's a little chasm in between the two, and I don't know if they can come together or they basically become, Live, YouTube, TikTok, whatever is one, and TGL is one thing and standard PGA is another thing, and they just live two separate lives. I tend to think that's what it's going to be. I tend to think I can't see a common ground for them.
Yeah, I can't disagree with you. What I can say is I hope that we're both wrong, because I think too. That there's a lot of interactions that we don't get to see. We get to see them 4 times a year, right? And depending on how they're going to now let people qualify for majors and those things, right? I mean, it's a completely different dynamic. I remember when did Live start, in 21? So I guess I went to the Masters that year, and the first time I saw the two folks that went to Live and folks in the PGA Tour interacting with each other. And I mean, shit, you wouldn't have known that anything was going on just by, at arm's length away, watching them interact with each other, So again, the media blows things into whatever they have to get their ratings. But yeah, it's, I don't know. Hopefully there's a middle ground there somewhere. I would love to see it. So, TGL.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say the U.S. Open with Rory and Bryson battling down the back stretch there was so epic, compelling, dude. And I miss it. I miss the higher probability of multiple people doing that, right? The PGA Tour has a few who can do that, and every now and then someone jumps in. But if they can get back together, there'd be way more of those during non-majors. So okay, I'm sorry, I cut you off there.
No, you're good, man. You're good. What's so TGL? Yeah. Have you? I have watched some of it, probably not enough to pass judgment yet, just with travel and everything that's been happening. I don't know that it really does anything. I mean, outside of the Tiger Woods aspect, which is just add Tiger, instant success. Yeah. If there is no Tiger, I don't know. I don't know if it does it. I don't know if sim golf is up my alley. Not watching.
Yeah. First of all, it's amazing. A technological feat. I mean, it's just spectacular. Sure. Yeah. Yep. So I have a 4-man simulator at my house. So basically I have a net and I have a little cheap launch monitor, $5,000 launch monitor, not the big $20,000 TrackMan or whatever. It's made by the people who make SkyTrack or whatever. Sure. And then I have a stand with the laptop I'm talking to you guys on right now sits to the right of me when I hit my shot. The launch monitor sees it, cord to the computer, and then it shows me either driving range or Pebble Beach or whatever is on this thing, and I can play around golf. I think it's the coolest thing ever, and I tell everybody, "Oh my God, this thing is so cool! We got to come over and do it." They come and do it, and I watch 3 shots of theirs, and I want to fall asleep. It's like it's only fun. It's only fun if you're.
No, it's only fun if you're the one.
It's only fun if you're doing it. Watching it is so boring, and especially if they're struggling a little bit. I got to watch 3 of their shots. I'm just like, oh my God, just hit auto, just hit auto in, just hit gimme, just do something.
Keep swinging. Swing faster.
So I think simulator golf is a blast when you're the one swinging the club. It's a blast. It's so much fun. But watching someone else do simulated golf, I don't know. I can't imagine.
I guess there's a good tax write-off that came from that. I mean, there was hundreds of millions of dollars that they invested in that facility, and I think that it was labeled for the college. So I'm sure there's some educational benefits that come along with that, right, from tax purposes and things. But it's like I don't know where that winds up at.
Steve's got the point, man. Everybody needs to be able to tap into this app. So Steve at his house needs to be able to play against Tiger. Everybody can play against the teams, right?
Yeah,
that could be.
Yeah, I mean it's a participatory game. Now you say, well, you go to a PGA event, you're watching golf and not playing. I think it's different, or watching it on TV. I think it doesn't have that same live golf feeling of the observer. It didn't capture that. It captures an amazing appreciation for technology and that green.
The green's hard to replicate.
It's unbelievable. Yeah. It spins. It goes. They have hydraulics that make the brakes change, and then they design. It's phenomenal. And if anyone offered the the three of us a chance to go play it, we would say when and where and how much, and don't worry about how much, right?
Yeah, I'll see you there.
Yeah, but to watch people, it might be more fun to watch shitty golfers do it, to be honest with you.
Well, that was one of the highest rating shows, as they had the crap. I'm forgetting their name now, but the Bryant brothers.
Oh,
and Good Golf.
Oh,
they just
okay.
announced
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so they just invested.
Yeah,
and
I mean Charles Barkley. Those guys are all good. Right. Those guys are all good.
Yeah,
exactly.
But I think they can't, because if it's too bad, they're going to damage the stuff on the sides.
Could be,
right?
or people.
Yeah,
liability issue.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's they have cameras on the top looking down. I don't know, but so there's probably got to be some kind of trade-off between quality. But yeah, I mean, those guys we've seen them. I think the hard part is we've seen them be so good in real life.
Yeah.
Watching them on a simulator there's no additional emotion that comes from it, right? You need an additional emotion to try something new. And I don't.
Well, the screen telling you that you hit a 380-yard shot versus, you just mentioned, was it hole number 7, I think, that you said that he took 14,
yeah.
14, that Rory took a line that I just have, I don't know how in the hell or why you would even think to do that. Like that's hard for me to, it doesn't register.
Yeah.
There's something there. I think they can evolve it. If they bring in, we talked about, some football quarterback, something like that. There could be some kind of fun play thing there, and it's I think the technology is amazing, and if they can modify it to get more of an audience, do more like reality TV kind of stuff, show a different side of people, all that kind of stuff could be good.
Dan. I think that's the event. Like if you see a personality trait in a stoic. When he's on let's just say Nick Faldo did it and was a party in a box instead of what he was on the golf course, or a VJ where they just kind of went about it. And then you say, well, this is a different guy. But when you see the same exact behavior on the simulator that you've seen 25 the times in the last year on the real golf course, there's no new emotion that pops in your head. It's kind of hard. So I mean, it's the early days. Give it a chance.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And if I get tickets, I'll invite you guys.
To
play, not to watch, to play. To play only.
Southern, we like Southern Florida. Palm Beach is good by us. We got a spot or two. We could hit up down there.
That's right.
What else is what's new? What's coming up in Steve's world of golf? And any big plans?
Yeah, so I turned 60 this year. I'm organizing a trip to a place I've wanted to go to for a while called Big Cedar Lodge. Have you guys heard of Big Cedar Lodge in Missouri?
For sure.
So that's the 60th birthday trip. Right now, looking like eight guys. I try to get the same 12 that went to Ireland, plus or minus different travel. But looks like we'll end up with 8. So that's kind of on the horizon later this year.
Sweet.
That's the Bass Pro. Is it Bass Pro? Is that who?
Yeah.
Cabela's or one of.
Yeah, that big company. That's their resort. How about you?
Yeah.
What you got?
What's on the schedule this year? I just relocated, by the way. We we got a new HQ. We've closed HQ in Atlanta, and now we're HQ'd in Chattanooga. So conveniently, I'm like 27 miles from the Cove. So I see a lot of Cove in my future. I mean, I'm sorry for them. I'm not sorry for me. So we'll see if there were memberships there. Yeah, mine could be getting revoked, allegedly. But maybe not. Maybe
that's the vibe there, though, isn't it? That's what I hear. That's the vibe.
It's so good, man. Yeah, it's so good. Yeah, we were there yesterday, and it was what are we in? We're in February. The 2nd was yesterday, maybe I think 3rd.
Yeah,
and it was 68 degrees, and we're all we pull in the parking lot, and people are getting out, and they're in shorts, and I'm going like shit, and I'm like, well, I wish I'd have brought another jacket. Like an hour later, I'm peeling off layers, man, and I'm like, I may need to cut these pants off because I'm going to need some shorts. So, but yeah, so that's a play. I am going to be traveling a lot more, so there's definitely going to be some West Coast locations that I'm getting to. Um, in another career of mine, there's an opportunity maybe to play Pebble. We'll see how that goes down. So that is an option that was thrown out a few weeks ago. Oh, you know where I was? I was in Vegas.
December.
Yeah, probably like it was the week after Thanksgiving. Yeah. And now typically when I go to Vegas, like you're going to Vegas. Yeah. I'm like, let's get out. Let's go stay somewhere like not on the Strip. Let's get away from the noise. We went to Lake Las Vegas.
Yeah.
And holy shit, man. I mean, that place, I'll have to look the whatever the golf course is. I mean, it's right, there's only one and it's right there.
Yeah.
What a wonderful trip, man. That is, that's probably one of the better Vegas trips that I've had.
Good.
Ever.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I stay off the Strip now too. I mean, there was a time and place for it, but when golf is also in your itinerary, the more you stay away, the higher probability you make your tee time.
There you go.
That's right.
It's harder to make early tee times if you're staying at a hotel on the Strip, but that's great. Yeah, there's so many cool surrounding areas. Henderson is kind of just outside of Vegas, but then you go a little further north. There's that Mesquite area where they do the Long Drive Championship in Wolf Creek Golf Course, and then just across the border in Utah, there's the city called St. George. It has like 6 amazing public golf courses. Yeah, so it's a great spot to make your headquarters for golf, but you also have some fun other there's great restaurants, great entertainment. Sure. So, but getting off the Strip was a good idea. Tip of the cap to that one.
Highly recommend. I know responsible decisions I make. Only a few a year, but when I make them, they're really good ones.
Yeah. If when you fly into LA, are you staying in the LA area at all, or are you just immediately getting away? Because there's a great whiskey bar right downtown Los Angeles called 7 Grand.
Okay.
It's on the corner of 7th Street and Grand Avenue.
Love that.
You walk in and go upstairs to it. And I'm not just saying that because they carry our stuff. It's kind of the bar that got me into whiskey, to be honest with you. Really? I'd enjoyed dabbling in whiskey, and then someone brought me there 20-something years ago, and I just was like the wow factor. Now, since I've been to Kentucky, there's bigger places, and but back then it knocked my socks off for the whiskey. I think they have 5,000 different bottles, and they have a great speakeasy in the back that they have a membership, but depending on the time and place, you might be able to weasel your way back into there. Really cool whiskey bar downtown LA that you might not have thought was a possibility, but really, really fun place to have a drink.
We will have some time in LA, and hopefully we got time for a round of golf is what I really
think, buddy. So. Yeah, for sure.
Speaking of we were talking about Vegas and you brought it up. Don't sleep on this. If you ever go back, and this is getting back to the Strip, but the Cosmo, dude, there are some there are like 3 bars in there, a couple of speakeasies. One's not really a speakeasy; it's a little bigger, a bigger spot, and it's is it Super Rica? I think it is. I was blown away. I hadn't been a minute. And I was like, well, I got to get back to those spots. So, what
have you guys tried Frey Ranch whiskey? They make rye and bourbon. Yeah. So that's a Nevada soil to bottle distillery that I'm a huge fan of. And so Nevada's a great state for the bigger cities and the little outskirts of finding little hidden gems. Great liquor stores where stuff isn't crazy priced. Great bars. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me what you said about finding some good bars hidden. Not the big one on the first floor, in the middle. That's the little nooks and cranny bars that are fantastic.
Absolutely, yeah, for sure. I don't know, Dan. What else you got for Steve, man? We can't keep him all night, so.
We got to pick a winner this week, or do a lineup real quick. You want to do that real quick?
We do have to pick a winner, and he may not do a lineup.
Are you talking about the Super Bowl or golf?
We're going to do both.
I guess we're going to do both.
We'll make it quick, though. We'll make it quick. Yeah.
Let me throw a few names out at you. Well, you can see them on the screen, or we'll throw them back.
I can. I couldn't before. Oh, yeah. Oh, look, you guys are more handsome with my glasses on.
Hey now, you don't have to butter us up to get back on there. You have to lube us up, but that's
all right, Dan. Your editing skills here. Here we go.
Exactly.
Okay, so what are we thinking for winners? What I mean, is it naive to not go ahead and say Scotty Scheffler's going to win this thing?
I don't know. I mean, he looked a little rusty.
Yeah.
I think it takes a couple of weeks to get back into top form. I don't think it's crazy.
I don't know how invested he is either. I mean, I think I think I like the guy just below him.
Yeah. JT. Yeah.
Could be. I mean, he's played well here before. I like that.
Yeah.
Let's see. I'll try to let me pull some odds up. That way we can really expose ourselves and see where we're going to head to. Because Scotty's like thin, man. He's like, I don't know, 8-1.
Oh yeah, that's thin. Like, you got to go deep. Yeah.
Get out of here. Yeah, I got nothing for that.
Where's Seb Struck at? That guy's been playing on fire.
Okay, he has been playing good.
I like that. Where's Seb?
He faded a little bit this weekend, but boy, he's hitting the ball well.
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, yes, I agree, but I mean, I don't know. Did he fade, or was Rory just
truth?
That far ahead of everybody?
He's at plus 4,000 to win. Seb Straka plus 4,000.
I don't mind plus 4,000. Tom Kim, I got nothing for Tom Kim. His personality bumps are great. That kind of keeps him probably relevant. But that they're going to ride him hard, man. From a slow play standpoint, he's got a.
Well, yeah. Plus the way he acted at the President's Cup. Sahith.
Yes, I love that. I love.
Yeah, 4,000. He's been at the top of that leaderboard. I think two of the last 3 years where with a chance to win it. He likes his course for sure.
I think that's a great pick right there, Steve.
I love that.
Plus 4,000. Locking that in right now.
I'm playing it all the way. Top 10, top 5, and winner. So we're going to hedge a little bit on there, as they would say. I mean, if we want to go real deep and get crazy,
all right. I
mean, what about at plus? I mean, I don't know if plus 6,000 is real deep. Could be. What about Nick Taylor?
Solid. He played well. He played well in Palm Desert. I mean, very similar type of course.
Layout's kind of I mean, big, open. I mean, if he's putting good, could be a thing, right?
Yep.
I like
that
Taylor.
one too.
All right, let's go crazy deep. Let's get into let's go 5. Let's go 10,000 plus 10,000 or higher. And I think that there's a few like Nikolai Højgaard at plus 11,000. Who else is down here? Charlie Hoffman. He's been spouting off lately, and he was in contention. Was it last year? He was in contention. He was.
Yeah, I think it was last year, the year before. Yeah. And then he was in contention in the desert.
Yeah,
but he hasn't closed a deal in a long time. He's in contention, but he doesn't.
There he is.
Yeah, plus 11,000. All right, you can talk me out of that one.
Yeah.
Who else?
I think he makes runs, but I don't know if he 4 good rounds put together.
Yeah.
What about Eric Cole?
The only thing, I mean, the ball's going to fly there. It's just, I don't know. I mean, distance-wise, I mean, is he going to, I mean, you got to think when Brooks was winning and Scheffler's winning there.
Too short off the tees? What you thinking? All right. Okay.
I'm just thinking out loud. Could be a thing. And I don't know. I don't know if I like anybody that much deeper in this thing. I mean, I really want to like Jake Knapp.
Yeah.
But he's not been he isn't putting it together.
Putting.
Yeah.
Just putting is killing him.
Who are we going with for a one and done? That's I've got I'm sticking with Sahith. I'm going to take Nick Taylor for the win, and I had somebody else in here, I thought. I think I'm going to Nikolai Højgaard at plus 11,000.
Okay.
I'm going to backstop those two.
Doesn't Hoffman usually play pretty well there too?
He does. I mean, like if you want to go Hoffman, I mean that's like a top 5 at plus 700. I don't know for the win. As Steve mentioned, like I don't see him closing the deal. Not with this field.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean he plays the first quarter of the year is his only chance, is where he plays the best.
Yeah.
And he's been in contention in Palm Desert and here, let's just say in the last 5 years. So that's 10 times. He's probably been in contention 3 or 4, but he's never there on Sunday. He's there on Friday, Saturday, and he gets everybody excited because we all want him to win. He's such a cool dude, right?
Yeah.
But it's something about the Sunday closeout. He just hasn't been able to do it. So it's hard to believe.
The most important day of the tournament.
Hey, winning's a skill.
For sure. For sure. It's not as difficult as blending 4 different whiskeys into one. But hey, how about that segue?
I love it.
We love it. One and done. Who we rolling with for a one and done here, Steve?
Open slate because we've only like 3 tournaments in, so whoever you want.
That means you have I'm not a big gambler, so that means you can't use them the rest of the year.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
And so let me share who I think. Go ahead.
I liked your Nick Taylor pick.
Ooh, okay. I do too.
So Nick Taylor. My other option is Sahith that you brought up earlier.
Yeah, I like both of them. Yeah.
Yeah. And
I like both of those too.
I like both of those too. I've got Sahith in right now. I'm going to leave it at that until I have another drink and change my mind, and then take your Nick Taylor pick. So,
and then Nick Taylor will WD like 15 minutes before they start. So
so if you pick them and then they WD, you still lose them?
Oh, you're done.
Oh no,
you're done. Yeah, Will Zalatoris did that to me a couple weeks ago, so I was like, thanks for nothing, Will. We appreciate that. I don't know, Steve. What else we got, man?
Who's going to win the MVP for the Super Bowl, Steve?
Oh, we got Super Bowl. Yeah,
I think Saquon. That guy. There's very few players that make my jaw drop when I watch him play. But man, oh man, so the runs he's broken off in these playoffs. And I mean, I'm a Niners fan, so the Chiefs have broke. Yeah, I just poured myself some more too. The Chiefs have broken my heart. I'm not anti-Chief, and I mean, I just Mahomes.
Speak for yourself. I'm done. I'm done. I'm over it.
Yeah, the Mahomes is amazing, but I just Saquon blew me away these last month and a half, just because I didn't watch much of him during the year, right? I mean, I don't watch Eagles games, but he's amazing. So that's who I think has a chance, and that's the way you beat those guys. I mean, you beat them
if they stay with the plan that got them to the Super Bowl. I think they can beat the Chiefs.
I do too.
Now, Taylor Swift did go home empty-handed last night from the Grammys, so maybe it's a little foreshadowing.
Was it because people were breaking and entering? Was this?
No, she didn't win anything. She didn't win anything last night, so maybe the Chiefs don't win. Yeah, there you go.
You mean You mean one thing didn't go her way for the first time in 10 years?
so she's not going to win the Super Bowl. That's right.
Yeah. I think it lines up because when I watched Niners play well against them, it's really being able to run the ball and keep Mahomes off the field. I mean, it's an old adage, it's cliche, but I saw Raheem Mostert do it a few years back, and McCaffrey do a little bit less extent last year. Saquon's like heads and shoulders above those guys as running backs, right? He's so good, so good.
Okay. All right, cool. All right, Steve, we know where you're going for your 60th. What is still on your bucket list from a course perspective? What are you looking forward to playing next that you haven't played yet?
Well, it was Scotland as a golf trip, for sure. Okay. That was my bucket. I actually tried to convince people on the island trip to stay longer and play Scotland. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying I'm not going to do it, but the rough day of weather in Ireland made me go, there's a chance I fly to Scotland and get 4 or 5 of those days. I don't know. Like it have to be the right situation. But in the U.S., I'm going to check off one. This Big Cedar Lodge, which I'm doing for my 60th, is one I saw it. I saw it on TV years ago, and just loved the vibe. Par 3 courses.
I think they played a match there.
Yeah, it was Jordan and Justin against.
I thought it was Tiger and somebody,
or maybe Tiger and Maury McIlroy. Yeah, and they've done a few things there. But par 3 courses, 4 big courses. Tiger, the most recent one, Tiger, just a great setting. So it's kind of like the middle of the country's version of Bandon Dunes. Just you go and check in a nice little lodge, 4 bedrooms, a fun area in the middle to play cards and stuff. So that's one. I think I've told you guys before. I've never been to Pinehurst, so that's on the bucket list still.
Oh, come on down, yeah.
Yeah. And what else in the U.S.? I mean, other than the crazy private courses that I can't get on this, those are probably the 2 big resort things. Okay. But still probably Scotland and those 2 in the U.S.
All right, so we need some advice here. I recently learned that we are getting a staple of the West Coast, especially California, into the Nashville area soon. That In-N-Out Burger is making its way across the country over to that area. What's the order? What's the go-to?
Okay, so first thing I'm going to say is people will say the burgers are great, the fries suck. That's what people will say. So the fries are very different than any other French fry that you have. It's an acquired taste. So what they basically do is just cut up some potato and stick it in a light oil, and they don't taste as crispy or crunchy as most French fries. I didn't like them at first either, but over time I've got to like them. But I'm not trying to convince you. I'm just saying don't let your first taste fool you because they're so different than every other French fry. You may end up hating them anyway. Okay, so for the burger, what I do is animal style, which means they grill some onions, and they grill the burger. Oh, and they add pickles. I really like pickles on my burger. So animal style is with grilled onions and pickles, and they grill the burger in a mustard. So they put a little mustard as they grill it. But then they put a sauce on it called it's like a Thousand Island dressing. They call it their spread. It's not Thousand Island dressing, but it's similar. Mm-hmm. Yep. So I do animal style, but I take away what they call the spread, and I add ketchup and mustard. So I go double animal style, no spread, add ketchup and mustard. That's my jam.
Nice. All right, Cal, back to you.
Well, I'm wondering if the Nashville location is that going to be the longest wait line for an In-N-Out Burger in the United States?
It could be.
There's only going to be one.
Oh my God, it's going to be mayhem for months. Yeah. There'll be news stories where they take, Action News down and back to you, Sam, and he's going to be sitting there with a line card going down the road because it happens. It happens here at stores that have been here for 30 years.
They've been there for years and they're still line. Yeah.
So I tell everybody that the most impressive act of self-control I have is there is a In-N-Out on the same exit as my house. It's right there, and I smell it as I come to my exit, and I allow myself to have an In-N-Out once a year because it's just I can't. So I smell it 300 times a year, and I only go once a year.
You gotta pick your vices, Steve.
Absolutely. Cheers, brother. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think I have anything else. I've got a lot more we could ramble on about for hours and days, but we'll save it for another show and another time. That is Steve Canepa, CFO for Filmland Spirits. You can find it at filmlandspirits.com, and you should definitely be head on over. Great stuff going on there. And Steve, thanks for joining the show. Dan, anything else?
No, thank you, Steve. Appreciate it.
Yep. Always a pleasure, guys. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Let's do it again, man. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers.